After this hour with Craig doing whatever he's doing, he'll also take us through some of the weird stuff that you can do on the vinyl cutter. They just needed me to stand in to go for the basics. So, what we can do, you can either run through rolls of vinyl. I know Fab Lab have a few different rolls that I think you can buy off them. So it will either come on a roll or you'll have pieces left over like this where you can still use those small pieces as well. So if you're just doing something small, you can kind of just grab a small piece. Now for those who have been shown the plotter over in fashion, you'll kind of notice that it looks very similar to that, and that is because that can be a vinyl cutter if it's set up to be a vinyl cutter. So we have the rollers here, just like that one. That one has more though, and this one just has two. So wherever you place these rollers, one needs to be in this section here. So you can see that these can just roll across, and one has to be underneath one of these. So when you do a roll, it'll be on the end one there, and then the other one will just be around here somewhere. But once you get into small pieces like this, there is that slight, actually I think you might be able to even put two within that one. So if you've got a small piece like this, it can fit within there. Or even smaller. Just go and put that one over like that. I'm going to chuck a roll in today, so that if you guys want to jump on afterwards, it is sitting in there, but feel free to swap it out as well. So we can clean up the stuff out of the way. We're going to drop, there's just a little stand thing here for it to sit in. So you can just drop it into that. If you have a small piece, sometimes it's easier to feed from the front rather than the back. If you can't feed it, so you'll see that these rollers can move up and down. So that's the lever back here. So if it's down like that, that can just flip there and it will release the rollers. But I'm going to assume that most of the time you jump on after someone, they would have been taking stuff out, so they would have released it. You can then just slide the vinyl in through. Sometimes it might get just caught on something, so just check that it's going through okay. While the machine is off, you can move this cut around. So I'm going to slide this one down, get that out of the way, and have it on the furthest one because I'm going for the widest width. And then I'm going to just set these maybe like 1.5 centimeters in from each side. Depending how accurate you get your lining up is going to depend on how far you go across. So if your vinyl is very wonky, you're going to have to bring these in further so that it can kind of feed it straight. But you kind of want to get it as straight as possible, and luckily we have these little guides here to help us. It might take a few goes just trying to get that, but once you get it, you can kind of just keep rolling the roll, which is good. So we're just going to use, you just have to eyeball it, unfortunately. Like that. I can move that one. Oh no, I can't move that one because it has to be within that space. So I'm actually going to just move the whole thing over. Then we can pull that lever forward and that's going to clamp that down. So when I turn the machine on over here, it's going to ask if I've got a roll, which is that one, or a piece, which if you just had a small piece, you do that. So with the roll, it's just going to measure the width, and it's going to assume you have an infinity roll, basically. If you go piece, it's going to measure both the width and what length you've got in it. So you might have to be careful if you were rolling it in that way, it would actually measure that whole amount. There's the sensors on this one. Yeah, the sensor is there, so that one actually it would pick up that edge. But if that was just slightly over, it would pick up. So in that case, you might just cut off that lump. So I'm going to tell it we've got a roll. So we can go up, roll, and we're going to go enter. So what it's going to do is measure the distance between that roller and that roller, and it's given us 560, and the length it hasn't measured that's on the roll. We can check, no, I can get that information later. So sometimes you might write that down and then you can use that measurement for your files. But I think there is actually a way of picking it up again. So you can check how straight you've put this in by pushing the up and down arrows. So one way we'll feed it outwards, you can kind of see it's about a millimetre out, so I've done actually quite well. Yesterday I could not get it straight. So you can test it for as long as you want, basically, and then once you've seen how straight it is, you can either reset it or if you're happy with how straight it is, just roll it back. So go in the opposite direction to what you just did until it will stop. So it will find the edge of that paper. So that's that sensor there. And I think you guys tested, or somebody tested some see-through stuff. I don't know if you guys have read that. And the reason it kept feeding backwards is because the sensor was picking, or it wasn't feeding or something, and it was picking up nothing because it was see-through. So they had to put a bit of masking tape along the edge to say this is the edge of the fabric. And if that gets dirty, it will just pick up that there's something there and it'll just keep going. Which we've had that issue on our own. Cool, so once you've lined it all up, I can take that measurement, the 560 millimetres, we're going to go create new. I'm going to do a custom width, so I'm going to put 530 in the width, and then the height would be just whatever you need that to be. I'm just making it as 217 now. We can go create, and there it is. Then we can, I would suggest doing your artwork on your own laptop and then bringing it over rather than trying to fiddle around on this one. You can sit down and actually do it, especially if you've got something quite detailed. And then you can have a backup copy if anything goes wrong. So then just chuck it on a USB and chuck it in here just like you would. And we always recommend just putting it on like the desktop or H drive rather than getting it off the USB. It's a little bit more power for it to do that. So it might take a little bit longer, depending how detailed the stuff is. So I'm just going to so currently I've got my fill and strokes into black outline, which we're going to keep that, and but what we need is a see-through or no fill, so you should be able to see all your lines. The other thing we need to do is set the stroke quite a bit finer. So currently it's set to 1 point, which is quite small, but if we set it to the final cutter, it would actually pick it up and draw it a few times to get that thickness that you want. But we actually want the circle to be our final, so really the lines to be just as fine as possible. So if we select everything and make more unspecial, we're going to change the stroke to 0.001. So 0.001, we found that works really well. Hit enter. Now the only downside of it is, for some reason on this computer, it comes up as like nothing. I've had that issue ever since they've changed to this But as long as it's still there when you select stuff. So again, another reason why I don't recommend fiddling with your art on here, just do it on over the top. I'm going to put this down as far as possible, kind of further down, because that will be the edge of the vinyl, so kind of wasting vinyl for that. If you have more, then if you need more than one thing, maybe you put all of them. For example, I'll sometimes vinyl cut like a meter of stuff at once, but obviously this needs to be really straight if I've done that, because if it's wonky, it's going to slowly run out of vinyl as it goes through. So if you are doing a long length, I'd be checking that feed for quite a while. Stay with it. So now that that is as ready as I need it to be, the one thing I need to check on the vinyl, which if you're using vinyl, it should basically already be set to this, is you just need to check that it's cutting properly. And Craig will go through how to change that if you've got something a bit weird and not standard. Now you can see if I pull this back, if I go like this, I've already got a bit of vinyl cut out there. That's what the test circle looks like. So what I'm going to have to do is, I'm going to go all the way back, but I'm going to make the cartridge start over here rather than here. So that's its default position. It's going to automatically go there and start there. So I'm going to use the sideways arrows, and I'm going to move this across, not that far, just so it's kind of sitting a little bit further away from there. And then I need to tell the machine that this is its new starting point. So I'm just going to hold down origin, and it should flash origin set. So now when I send something through, it will start from that point there. So I'm just going to hold down test, and what it's going to do is do a little test circle, feed it back out, and what you should be able to do is really easily peel that away from the square, which is why there used to be a lot more of these around. And your square should look nice and squarish, not any little flicky bits or anything like that. So this has been set for this vinyl basically, so it should be perfect. If it's cutting all the way through, the force is set too hard. In some cases you might actually want it to be set going all the way through. Once I've done that, I can roll it back in, and I'm going to do exactly what I did before, is set a new origin, otherwise it will start cutting over top of that. I'm going to go about there and hold down origin, so that means when I send this through, it's going to start there. So it does mean you can send a file through and then move the cartridge around, or the carriage around for it to start somewhere next, and send another job through, and then make it really wrong. So we're going to go file print. We need to change this to Roland GX24. If you can't remember that, just look at the name of the machine, and that's the one you're looking for. Normally, half the time, it will actually stay looking the same as that, so we do need to set something else. In this case, it has actually, oh no, it hasn't. So the media down here says 584 by 1600, and that was me yesterday doing this. My media was that size. So we're going to go set up, just continue, because we're going to overwrite what this is saying. Check that it's in the Roland GX24, and we're going to go preferences. So this is the printing preferences for this machine. You don't have to even type this in here. You can go get from machine, and it's going to tell us the amount that it can print. So it's gone down, so it's 488.2, and that's because the origin point is now that much further in. So we can go, okay, we're going to hit print. We need to check that the media has actually changed, and 99% of the time it won't do it the first time, so you then do the exact same thing. continue, preferences, get from machine, nothing will change here. The other thing you want to check, which I didn't have that yesterday, is the rotate as well, depending if you want it on or off. I want it off because I want it to print that way down. Hopefully, this time, you can see that's changed and the rotate is still there, but we'll just move it. No, I'll change it. No, that's right. Let's have something that overrides it. So if the rotate when you hit off doesn't rotate, the one on the home screen has like an auto rotate on, and it's really annoying, and it will overwrite the later colour ones. That one must have been off yesterday. You're then going to sit your piece down as far as you can this way, as far as you can, like seeing it on a tiny screen, and basically this edge here is this edge here. So if I was to set it up here, what it would do is feed this out that amount and do it where that is. So check that you are placing it down this side. And then we can just take a point. Done our test, everything's set to 0.001. We've done our media, we can check that down here. And so we can hit. So the reason it's done it up here is just when I sit on that page, it will be that much up from the edge. But I'd rather have it that much up than have it coming off the thing. But if you've got something small, you obviously have to be a little bit more accurate. So I have a really easy file for it to do, so we can then, so it took no time at all. Obviously the more intricate, the more it's going to take. We can then feed this back out again, as far as we want, because we can feed it back in. And there it is, sitting there. And there's some scissors conveniently sitting here. I'm just going to cut off the bit that I've actually cut. So if I was going to be doing more than just these two circles, I would final cut the whole lot and then just feed it, or just take it out of the machine. But I'm going to leave this in here so that you guys can have a play as well. I'm going to feed that back in. See how it's now leaving that, it's found that as its new edge. I'm going to put the carriage back to that side, and I need to set that as its new origin. So that means if I send that through again, that's where it would go from. So now that I've got my pieces, what we can do is a thing called reading. So one thing that I have forgotten to do on this one, but maybe I'll send through another example one, is if this was more intricate, peeling off this outside layer would become really... Let me change these back to this default for a second. The smaller. So if I was to try and read this out, trying to get into all these little gaps might become really, really hard because it's all little detailed bits. So what you can do is start just drawing in straight lines, and these won't be seen once you pull it all out. So I'm just going to do for this. Get a continuous line. So it means it's going to cut this line, but it's going to make it much easier to do that. So if you're not doing this for the standard for cutting, you might not do this. I might even chuck some extra lines in between each one. This is obviously going to make it take a little bit longer to see the files, but if you're doing something like text, I would highly recommend doing this because it can get really, really hard to pull it out, especially if you've got like a delicate text like it around something, and then you start pulling and it starts pulling the next letter off, and then you've lost that letter for the time cut. Or you need to catch it in time to make sure it doesn't peel off. Change that one back to 001. I don't want this center circle either, and that's its whole other thing. You can use, Hannah has said in the past that you can actually use line cutting for screen printing as well. So you would, if you wanted the circle to be the screen cut part, screen printed part, you'd be pulling out what was going to be screen printed and then transfer the negative space onto the screen. But she has also said it only lasts like 2 or 3 screens. But if you're doing like the one-off and you know how to use the screen, it'd be worth talking to her. If you ever need more, just feed it out what it needs to do. So now that we've got something slightly more complicated, if I'd kept this all as one big thing, I would have to carefully go into all these little gaps. But now I can just pull off all these little ones. First, see how that's caught there? So you just want to shuffle it off. But if that was part of the big thing, you probably would have caught that and then you would have lost that little, come on, get back in there. So I always kind of pull it at like a quite a small angle, and it seems to not catch as much. You can use things like tweezers and stuff, or for the fashion show, I always like to get my awl out and just kind of dig in, give them those little, when they're sort of sitting in the middle. Very easy. But this is definitely the most time-consuming part. But it's kind of, if you've got the time, it's kind of satisfying. And you kind of see it come to life as you're doing it. Put some music on and go for it, watch TV. So it's a really fast process that gives you a result fairly quickly once you get past all this. And you take this big one off as well, even though I always feel like it's such a huge waste, but otherwise that would become part of my vinyl that gets stuck to something. So now that we've got that one, we need to put a transfer tape onto this, and that will be the one, this will transfer to that, and you stick it on to whatever item you're doing. So come with me, because the transfer tape is still down there. Maybe I'll go grab it and bring it. Things. So I always end up kind of going like that, and then putting it down this way, so that I have enough space. Just chat to Craig about costing for this. I know she seems to have to buy it, but I think it's kind of cool to be on this wrong, so I don't know if it's still a cost. I don't think it's expensive. $1 extra or something like that. Or it might just be that if you use a piece, that will ask you to take that a little bit. I've got to check with him before I get out of this. So I've got my 2 pieces here. I don't need transfer tape for this whole thing. I can actually cut this back if I decided to, and it's actually probably going to make it a little bit easier if I do that. actually also an easier way of doing this if the roll wasn't on. So when I got taught it, it was just on like a roll that you could roll out on top of. But with these small pieces, it's fairly easy. You might see that. I can just place this down and then start the part object. Like that. This one, put it in that way as well. So you do want to make sure that your vinyl there is going to stick to this. So if you just place it down and try to peel it off, it will just come off with no vinyl. You might get the odd bit that's attached. So just get something hard, swipe cards and stuff like that are really good. Like this. Two different stickers. So the last thing that I do is I'll go through again and do it this way. So if when I haven't pushed down, it's kind of like this cloudiness. But if I was to do it that, it's not. So that is eventually attached to it. There. And then once you get to the place that you want to place it, and then, so when I was doing these for all our cabinets and stuff, I wanted the surface to be perfectly centre, so I then went and got a ruler and set square, measured it all out, and also drew the centre of these on, so that when I peeled them off like that, I could line that little cross here with the cross here on there. So if it does need to be accurate, you may need to go back and manually start drawing stuff on to line up with something. But in general, I just like a piece of paper on the floor.
So what's this material, Jess?
So this is the transfer sheet.
Okay.
So that's the backing off the vinyl. Mm-hmm. You got the vinyl and then that's the one. And we have that to put it onto something, which I should have brought something over. But you may also want to do it so that as you're pressing this down, so you might just do a little bit at a time, pull the backing and then carry on. The next little bit, pull the backing and then carry on down. Otherwise it can go a little bit wonky, or like you might place it down and it's stuck over here but it's not quite where you wanted that to be, so when you pull it off, the vinyl will stick. So all we've done is taken the vinyl from that side and put it on its other side. You actually put something over. So you'd do the same with that one, but you could place it over top. A little bit off. So if you have really big stuff, you'd be wanting to take it really slow, and you might have one person pulling the backing while the other person's got a card. Card always works really well because it's a little flat surface that can kind of even help push these away. And if you've got something that's really detailed, what you might want to do when you're weeding it out, which is taking all the bits that you don't want to be vinyl, what you might need to do is have a diagram of what is getting taken out and what's not, so the black and white, black, what's staying, white, what's going. Because if you take a piece out, you can't put it back, or it's very hard to put it back in, especially if you've damaged the edges. But if you're just doing basic stuff like that, you should be able to tell what's getting and what's not. It's pretty easy once you kind of get into it. Do you guys have any files that you set up for final cutting? If you need to use your own font, you'll need to do that on your own computer. Let's just pick something. That'll do. Actually, might be a bit thin. Good on the fact. And then obviously you're going to have it the size that you want. So you can do all this with heaps of time and thought into it. So currently it's set with the fill being black and the stroke being nothing. So if you swap that around, you're going to get the outlines. So that's fine if you're using the default, and it makes it really easy to edit that, obviously. Or if I decide I want my full name. But if you are using your own font that you found on the internet, what you have to do is, maybe try and remember it, yeah, I'll let it try again, is if you click on it and right click, you can do, or actually this would have to be at its default fill, no strokes for this, because otherwise it would create an outline around. Oh, I'm trying to think how I knew it. No, yeah, that was good. So if I right click and go to create outlines, if I zoom in, you can see that there's a little paths now. So you can either keep it grouped or ungroup it over there, and then you would want to still swap those over and still change that to 0.01. So if you're using your own font, you have to create an outline, because if you type up your own font, bring it into here, that font's not going to be so we'll just change it to a default process that you can find. And you can, and if I wanted to edit these, say I wanted to have this one really big, I can just use these as paths. And then I'll just send it through.
But here for that printer doesn't matter if things are grouped and grouped.
No, so the only thing you have to make sure is that you don't have like double layers of lines. Because obviously it's going to draw stopped twice and stuff like that. Which is why I say do it on a normal computer, you can actually see. I don't know why this one. When you, once you get down, yeah, you can like just see it, but that's not fine enough for it to go to the laser cutter.
And then we need to save it as an image?
Save it as an image.
Yeah.
So you can just save them as Illustrator
Okay.
files, but if you're using font, you do have to do the create outline. But it does also mean that I can't now go and carry on typing on the end of this. So if I decided I did actually want my full name, I didn't have to find that font again and reset it all, because these are now shapes rather than
Font.
text. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are using default one, because I accidentally did it yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been making outlines this whole time. But then I realised I was using a special font, that's why I've done it. I can, yeah, worked out that you can just, if you're using the default ones, just change the stroke. And if you do something and then you want to change the type of font, because you don't like how it's come out, you can change it like that. Cool.
Thank you.